All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see. My name is Judge Lal, and we're going to begin with the Fulton County State Expedited Accusation Calendar. This is a list of cases in which individuals were recently charged and arrested and charged with certain misdemeanor offenses. Upon being booked at the Fulton County Jail, they were formally accused by the prosecutor. So this would be the defendant's initial appearance before a judicial officer. When I call your name, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about your case, your statements can and will be used against you during the course of this proceeding. This entire virtual proceeding is being recorded and live streamed. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one of our public defense or conflict defense attorneys will be representing you. Courtroom, do we have our interpreter available?
We do, Judge.
All right. And will our interpreter please unmute and start your video? All right, Miss Andre, are you our interpreter? I have a Zoom panel with legal license interpreter. Would you please start your video and unmute?
I'm ready, ma'am.
Miss Andrea, are you an interpreter?
Am I in what?
Are you the court-appointed interpreter?
Your Honor, I believe she may be the complaining witness on Gamba.
All right, please mute your screen, Miss Andrea.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
And good morning, good afternoon, by the way.
Good afternoon, Miss Melnick. Okay, let's see if we can get our interpreter to respond. Okay. While we're waiting.
Judge, she said she's trying to fix her mic at the moment.
Okay, we will get to a case then. Courtroom 2, who do we have?
Position number 2, Mr. Hodge. I'm sorry, number 3.
Number 3, okay. This is State versus Jeremy Hodge, case number 23 CR 5727E. Mr. Hodge, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Miss Kim or
Melnick.
Melnick. Okay, excuse me.
Yep.
Okay. Your attorney is Miss Deborah Melnick. Mr. Hodge is accused of misdemeanor terroristic threats and acts, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and loitering and prowling from a September 22nd, 2023 incident. Mr. Howard, good afternoon. Do you have the priors on Mr. Hodge?
Yeah, 25 total. The last arrest was 2022, felony obstruction, possession of meth, 2 counts of terroristic threats. He got a 2022 obstruction conviction, 2021 failure to appear, obstruction and tampering with evidence conviction, another 2021 obstruction conviction.
That's good. Thank you. Ms. Falk, what is the state's recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. And just briefly, this incident happened yesterday at 4131 Perrin Point Drive. Officers were dispatched there to a person hiding in the bushes. They arrived, saw the defendant in a black hoodie and black shirt hiding behind a cement pillar. Once the officer got out of the vehicle, the defendant yelled, "I'm going to kill you," while holding a pair of scissors in his right hand. Officer Smith, who was also on the scene, heard the threat that was communicated to the first officer. The male then ran into the wood line. Canines were contacted. They helped search the wood line and located the defendant in front of a house. They ordered him to lay on the ground, detained him, and when they searched his pocket, they found a pair of blue scissors, which corresponded to what the officer stated he saw when he got out of the vehicle. We also wanted to note that according to our information, this defendant is not recommended for UJR due to a history of FTA and a multi-state offender history. We believe that this defendant may need some MH assistance. We're concerned that he is not safe to be released until he's stabilized. Quite frankly, he could have killed the officer in this situation or harmed someone else. And we believe that he may be a danger to himself as well, given that he confronted the officers, threatened to kill them, and was wielding a pair of scissors. Also, I wanted to note that obstruction in 2022, the possession of meth, the simple assault, FTA, and a riot in a penal institution, which also demonstrates there have been previous incidents with law enforcement, as well as some 2021 cases as well. To that end, we are recommending a $2,500 surety bond. That is $1,000 on count 1, $1,000 on count 2, $500 on count 3. We're asking for a stay away order from the 4,000 block of Parent Point, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We are also asking for any MH services that can be offered to this defendant to assist him during this time.
All right, Ms. Melnick?
Yes, Your Honor. I have spoken. I am the public defender for misdemeanor mental health court. So I have spoken to him about that program, and he is declining that program at this time. He was fully able to communicate with me, so I didn't think that there were any other issues along that line. So he is not employed. I did not hear that he had any type of violent history. We are asking for a signature bond, and I am a little unfamiliar, so I don't want to overstep. I think I just emailed or text direct message Ms. Falk, but to refer him to the PAD unit.
All right, that's something that y'all can discuss after the fact.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Howard, what is the case in which he was convicted of terroristic threats last year?
You got a conviction from last year?
You told me he had a conviction, terroristic threat 2022? Or was that an open case?
It was out of Marietta. That was the
Marietta.
last arrest. I'm not sure if it was a conviction though.
Right, that was an open case, Your Honor, but he did have a conviction for obstruction of law enforcement officer September 7th of 2022 out of Cobb State Court. He
Okay.
also has that open case, which we referred to, the misdemeanor obstruction, terroristic threat, simple assault, failure to appear, willful obstruction, right?
I got that part. I was just wondering whether the terroristic threats was a conviction. Mr. Hodge, on each count, your bond is going to be $1,000. That's going to be a $3,000 surety bond. Your next court date is going to be, Ms. Champion, is it October 5th?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. It's a $3,000 surety bond. Next court date is October 5th at the Fulton County Jail. If you do make bond, make sure that you update us with your current mailing address so we can send you your next court summons. No contact with, stay away from 4131 Parent Point Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. You're not allowed to be within 200 yards of that location. No alcohol, no drugs, and no weapons. And I would highly recommend that you speak to your defense attorney to see what resources are available to you in case you would need any particular evaluations. Thank you. Deputy, I'm going to place Ms. Melnick in a breakout room with courtroom 3 and Ms. Chauncey, our interpreter, so that she can consult with her client through the interpreter. Ms. Chauncey,
She
still with
dropped off
us?
again, Judge.
Okay.
But I'll put them in the breakout room when they get back. But I think it's PD Kim that's doing the interpretation.
Oh, sorry. Ms. Kim is,
No, I'm doing I'm doing Gamba.
okay, that would be the interpreter case.
Right.
All right. So as soon as Ms. Chauncey appears, courtroom 2, who do we have?
Give me a moment, let me switch him back out. Come on. Position number 4.
What's my case?
This is State versus Marquis Hood, accused of battery, family violence from May 14th, 2023. His new accusation number is 23 CR 5724C. Mr. Hood, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Melnick. Ms. Chauncey, we're going to put you in a breakout room with courtroom 3 very, very soon as Ms. Melnick's available. Mr. Howard, any priors on Mr. Hood?
Got 24 total. Open case out of DeKalb County for giving false name. 1 probation, possession of tools, participation in criminal street gang activity, burglary, 2 counts of theft by taken. That's out of Rockdale. I also got participation in criminal street gang activity, influencing the witness, 2 counts, ag battery, ag assault, a deadly weapon.
When was this?
He was sentenced in 2017. They gave him 2 years to serve, 8 years probation.
All right, that's good.
17 SC 155325.
155325. Got it. Thank you. Ms. Falk, what's your recommendation? Oh, I'm sorry, you're on mute.
My apologies, Your Honor. We're also showing that this defendant is currently in on bond on 23 CR 001-478C. That is a family violence battery. The defendant was given a $1,000 surety bond on March 14th of 2023 by Judge Morrow. That did involve a different victim, Miss Jade Brown, but it was in the same general area as this incident happened, which was Windsor Street.
And this is I've got an emergency motion to revoke that bond as well, which y'all filed, I guess, today.
Today, yes, Your Honor, we did.
Let's address bond for the new case, and then I'll go back to the other case.
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident happened in response to a dispute between a male and a female. Miss Rakaya Hamilton advised the officers that she was assaulted by the defendant. The defendant had gotten upset with her during an argument. He yelled at her, called her an ungrateful bitch, snatched her wig that was attached to her head, and then hit her on the left side of the face with his hands before getting out of the vehicle. The officers did observe bruising to her forehead as well as to the left side of her face. At the time of this incident, they had been together for a few months and resided together. Again, I will point out that this was pretrial did not recommend this defendant for UJR due to his history of probation violations and the fact that he is a multi-state offender. I would also like to point out on the record that the defendant is currently in custody, not only on this case, but on 23 CP 222-0051. That was he was arrested on the same date as our offense for obstruction, trafficking cocaine, possession of marijuana, possession of a Schedule II controlled substance, receipt of a firearm, and by a convicted felon, and he is being held on no bond status per Judge Hughes. So there is that case that he will need to contend with as well. He also, as pretrial has already stated, had a recent conviction where he was given 2 years in, I believe, in custody. To that end, we do have some serious concerns based on his open family violence battery, based on the charges he's being currently held in on felony charges, and based on his prior history of felony convictions. We have a serious concern about his risk of reoffense. We are requesting a $5,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Stay away from 464 Windsor Street, Southwest Atlanta. No further contact with Rakaya Hamilton. We are also asking for family violence intervention program. At this point, given the second offense in less than 12 months, we believe it is necessary. That's all for the state. And we would like to sound for Ms. Hamilton if she is here.
Ms. Hamilton? Rakaya Hamilton. Ms. Melnick, what's your position?
Yes, Your Honor. Most of his previous charges, especially with respect to the felonies, were more drug related and not DV related. He does not have at this time any prior DV convictions. This offense that he's in for today occurred in May 14th of earlier this year, and he has not contacted her, and there has not been any contact since then. So he has. I don't feel that there's any type of, there's a significant cooling off period, quote unquote, and that he has not been a danger or a threat to her since then. We are asking, because he has no prior convictions at this time with respect to domestic violence battery, we are asking for a signature bond in the amount of $5,000.
Okay. It's a $5,000 surety bond as the state recommends. No further contact with Rakaya Hamilton. No further and to stay away from the Windsor Street location. I think that was 464 Windsor Street in Southwest Atlanta. With regards to the emergency motion to revoke the $1,000 bond, any comment, Ms. Melnick?
Yes, Your Honor, I would object to it this time. The state has, I haven't even received a copy of it. I haven't had ample time to respond. And, to do so would be ineffective for me to do it at this time.
All right.
Your Honor, if I may just point out, that was actually, that motion was to the public defender who was on his 23 CR case. I believe that is Mr. Zach Finling. And we do not need to address that motion today. We wanted to make sure that it was preserved so that we could have a hearing at a later date. If we need to package both of these cases together, which the state is asking for, and place it on the next SAP calendar so they can both be addressed together, we would ask to do that.
That's what I was going to recommend. Ms. Champion, we're going to reset this particular case, 5724C, as well as the prior case 23 CR 001478C to the next SAP calendar, October 5th, at which time the Public Defender's Office is on notice that there is a motion to revoke the bond in the latter case. So whoever is the assigned PD at SAP, they would have to be prepared to address that. And of course, the state is on notice that they can summon the alleged victim from the prior case as well at the time of the motion to revoke. All right, thank you. Ms. Chauncey, you still with us? Or is she in the breakout with
He's in the breakout room, Judge.
all right, Ms. Melnick, we're going to place you in the, just one second, Ms. Melnick, just one second.
Sure. I'm at your convenience. I don't have any other.
I,
Client.
okay, we're good, thank you. Courtroom 2, who do we have?
Position number 5, Mr. Jackson.
Okay, and did Mr. Hood want to address his attorney?
Yes, no, I want to ask, the bond, was it, did you give me a citizen bond or a surety?
You don't qualify for a signature bond.
Five surety.
You got too many fires in the pan.
Thank you.
All right, I'm sorry. Courtroom 2, who do we have?
Sean Jackson, number 5.
Your Honor, and we did ask that Mr. Jackson be reserved to the end of the calendar.
Yes, Deputy, let's put him towards the, as the last case.
Okay,
And Ms.
My name-
Melnick is going into a breakout with courtroom 3. So we will take Ms. Kim's cases for now.
okay.
All right, Ms. Melnick, hopefully you'll see a message to join the breakout.
Judge, Ms. Kim is still in the breakout room. She had a,
Oh,
she was in there with position 7.
okay, then whoever is the next case for Ms. Melnick. This is,
I'm done.
Anybody else in here, Miss Melvin?
oh, so we're just waiting on Ms. Kim now?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Melnick is done. So Ms. Melnick, those were your only cases, position 1? No,
Bonded out already.
position 3, so you're just waiting on Gamba then?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you want to go ahead and join the breakout room? Mr. Jordan, you can place her in the breakout room and let Ms. Kim know that we're ready for her now.
You said number 1 bonded out?
That
No,
is
no,
correct. He made a $1,500 bond.
no. Okay, position 1's released.
Ms. Falk, I'm sending you a response.
Okay, I will respond shortly.
Okay. It's
All right, while we are waiting, I have Miss Andrea, who is a victim or a witness. I have someone called Juan Sands. Either a victim or a witness, and I have someone on iPhone. Could that person on iPhone identify themselves? All right. I'm just waiting on Miss Kim before we take our next case. Mr. Jordan, have you advised Miss Kim that we're ready?
I'll let her know, Judge.
No. All right, Mr. Jordan, that's been long enough. Can you get Miss Kim out of the breakout, please? Or you can remove her. Ah, is she here? Excellent, thank you. Miss Kim, we ready? All
Yes,
right.
ready?
Who do we have in courtroom 2, please?
Conviction number 6.
6, okay. And this is Mr. Michael Nevermont, 23 CR 5725A, accused of battery, family violence from September 22nd, 2023. Mr. Nevermont, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your counsel is Ms. Kim. Mr. Howard?
Second arrest, last was 07 battery dismissed. He was recommended.
All right. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident happened around 1:55 in the morning. Officers met with the victim and her husband, who stated that they had gone to a concert earlier that night. The defendant became intoxicated, began to fall multiple times. And once they got home and into the vehicle, he voiced his opinion on how the defendant was carrying themselves, and then a verbal argument ensued, which turned physical. The defendant struck him with a closed fist about 3 times in the facial area. Miss Arananda suffered a busted bottom lip and did advise that he, in self-defense, struck the defendant 1 time in the face, causing his nose to bleed. The parties have been living together for over 6 months and are legally married. We have spoken to the victim. He stated that he is afraid of the defendant when he drinks too much and gets aggressive. He confirmed the events in the warrant and stated that their lease ends in a week. He would like no violent contact so that the defendant can pack up his own belongings. He also stated that he does again have concerns regarding alcohol abuse. As you've heard, pretrial is recommending him for UJR release to the jail. His history is limited. That 2007 dismissed battery case is the only case he had. We are agreeable to a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial services, that he stay away from 2000 Monroe Place Northeast. No further contact with Juan David Sanez Aranda, who is here on the Zoom. And we would like no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We also would like a FVIP, Family Violence Intervention Program. I believe the defendant could benefit from that given the situation, the volatile situation in the home. And we would also like to request some alcohol or drug awareness, given the fact that this did result from alcohol abuse, and Mr. Arananda has indicated that he has concerns when this defendant drinks, that he becomes aggressive. That's all for the state. We would like to sound for Mr. Arananda if he would like to speak at this time.
Ms. Aranda, you are on Zoom. If you'd like to address the court, please unmute and start your video.
Hello, everybody.
You need to start your video.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, Mr. Aranda, if you'd like to raise your right hand, please.
Yeah,
Other right hand.
the right hand.
You solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge.
Swear.
Okay. So there is a concern as to whether Mr. Nevermont should be in the same location or same household as you. Do you have any comment about that?
Come again, sorry. English
There's
is my
a great
second.
concern of whether Mr. Nevermont should be living with you or be anywhere near you. Do you have any comment about that?
I'm not afraid of him. I'm okay if he come back.
Even if you believe he has an alcohol or drug problem?
It's something we can work on it together.
How?
We're thinking about going to a couple therapy. I'll be talking with some people who can help us.
Okay. Anything else?
I would like him come back as soon as possible.
Understood. Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Thank you.
Yes, my client is 36 years old. He was born in California, but he has been here in Georgia for more than 23 years. Your Honor, he is gainfully employed at Coca-Cola. He is working as a manager at retail department. Your Honor, he is not qualified for public defender services. So after this bond hearing, he will be working with his private attorney. He does have some college. And Your Honor, he says he does not have any addiction to drug or alcohol. And Your Honor, we would like to request for no further violent contact. I think that will be what both parties want. And we have no objection to signature on bond through a pretrial instead of other classes. I think one day anger awareness class will be sufficient for this case, since this is his first offense ever. So that's what we are asking for, Your Honor. Thanks.
Okay. Bond's going to be set at $4,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. There shall be no further violent contact between Mr. Nevermont and Mr. Aranda, which means that he can return to the home that he shares with Mr. Aranda. No illegal drugs. You shall not consume any alcohol and not possess any weapons or any firearms. Your next court date will be set to your current address. So if it appears that you are moving and changing your address, you will have to update the court with your new mailing address within 30 days of being released. Furthermore, upon being released, you will enroll and complete a domestic violence intervention program. That's a 24-week program, and you must show proof of enrollment within 30 days of being released from the Fulton County Jail. That means you'll be reporting to pretrial every month. So by your second report date, you must show proof that you are enrolled in a domestic violence program. You will also attend and complete one alcohol and drug evaluation by a qualified healthcare provider and submit to any treatment that's required. And that must be proof of such proof of you attending such an evaluation must be done within 60 days of being released, and that proof must be submitted to pretrial. So you are released on a signature bond, which means you don't have to pay for your bond presently. You have to comply with your conditions in order to make sure that your bond is not revoked and amended to either a cash bond or a surety bond. Update your mailing address, enroll in a domestic violence program, submit to an alcohol and drug evaluation, and not consume any illegal drugs, alcohol, and not possess any weapons. No further violent contact with Juan Aranda means you cannot have a physical or verbal altercation with him. And if the police get involved in any future altercations, you will be arrested and lose your bond. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Can we do position number 8? She's waiving her appearance since Ms. Melvin is not listed back.
Okay, Ms. Kim, any objection to addressing position 8?
Nope, Your Honor.
All right. State versus Katrina Taylor is 23 CR 5728C, accused of simple battery and willful obstruction from September 22nd, 2023. Ms. Champion, do you have the waiver of appearance?
I will send it out shortly, Your Honor.
All right. And what are the priors on Ms. Taylor?
23 total. Last arrest was 2021 simple battery no-low. Obstruction criminal trespass no-low. That was out of Clayton County. 2019 probation, 2019 simple battery against police no-low. Another 2019 probation, 2019 battery DV, 2018 terroristic threats conviction, 2018 probation, 2017 trespass no-low.
That's good.
all
That's
right.
good. Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. So this happened at the Kroger at 725 Ponce de Leon Avenue. The defendant was attempting to shoplift, was confronted by Mrs. Sheikha Johnson, and the defendant began knocking items off the shelves at the Kroger. The defendant then pulled Ms. Johnson's hair and pulled her down before Ms. Johnson was able to pull away. Officers arrived. They ordered the defendant to stop walking when being told to do so and stop pulling away. I will say that we had an opportunity to speak with Ms. Johnson. Ms. Johnson stated she has been working at the Kroger for a month. She confirmed the events in the warrant, stated when the defendant grabbed her manager's glasses, Ms. Johnson bent down to get them, and that's when the defendant grabbed her by the hair. She said she didn't sustain any injuries because she leaned into the defendant, so the defendant wouldn't be able to pull any of her braids, but she is asking for a no contact and a stay away from the Kroger location, given that she does work there. I will point out that the release level pretrial did not recommend her for UJR, but she does have a release level of 1. I believe that was due to her probation violations. However, we do believe she could benefit from pretrial services, and we are asking for a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial services. That's going to be $2,000 as to count 1 and $2,000 as to count 2. Stay away from Kroger at 725 Ponce de Leon Avenue. No further contact with Yashika Johnson, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We're also going to ask for 1-day anger management. I believe she can benefit from the anger management program given the circumstances she found herself in on this case. That is all for the state.
Any objection, Ms. Kim?
No, Your Honor, we do not have any objection.
2,000 on each count. That's a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial. No further contact with Yashika Johnson. Stay away from the Kroger at Ponce de Leon Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia, and to attend and complete the 1-day anger awareness program with pretrial.
Yeah, that'll be per judge.
Yes, per judge. And no illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. And she needs to update us with her current mailing address as well. All right, courtroom 2, actually courtroom 3, are we ready with our interpreter cases?
I haven't been in contact with courtroom 3. so
Okay, courtroom 2, do we have anyone else to address?
Only person is Mr. Jackson, the one that prefer to go last.
Okay, well, as soon as you clear courtroom 2, I can address that and switch off the recording and live stream.
And Your Honor, again, we object to the switching off of the recording. If Your Honor wishes to turn off the YouTube, but we would like the
Yeah,
actual
you can-
proceeding to be recorded.
Yeah, and I misspoke. You can keep